This is the Fantasy Football Game Plan, where we talk about fantasy football and the NFL.
So do you want to start at QB?
Okay. When are you drafting a quarterback? What round?
Okay, so here's the thing. Our league is different than yours. We do an auction. So for me, my priority will be quarterback, probably, because I already have two running backs and a wideout.
But
So
depending on
who's
who's available though. So it is, but it's like it's not like you could pick a Josh Allen because he's already in somebody else's.
Yeah, he won't be available in my league.
So that's why you're trying to dump your player. So if you bought Brady for $6, you could buy him maybe this year for $3, and then you save yourself $3 to go after Kyle Pitts or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're trying to build your case in that matter. I take it. That's just me making assumptions.
That's right. That's exactly how it goes in an auction league. But I mean, having said that, I think there's a huge importance in having a great QB if you want to win in fantasy. I haven't seen anybody win with a crap QB. So, Mahomes is the first QB that's going off the board in a lot of leagues. I did see one mock draft where Josh Allen went ahead of him, and everybody are talking about Josh Allen having a huge year this year again and getting even better. But I think Mahomes is your number one QB, regardless of where you take him. He has been going around like the 5th or 6th round. People have been getting on the quarterback train lately and drafting QBs a little earlier from what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I think when it comes to an elite player like Patrick Mahomes, I've seen in my league, which is opportunists, a lot of us who do this, like if you're sitting, because everything's brand new. I've seen, I think last year Patrick Mahomes went maybe in 2nd or 3rd, but then the next quarterback was until 5th, right? Mm-hmm. So it was just one of those things. It was like, do you stretch and go get Kelsey? Yes, you can get Kelsey in the 1st round because the next guy is Wallace, and then after that is no one, right? like for so long. So like there are players like this where you do want to stretch out for, but it's kind of like looking at that mid-rank draft where like quarterbacks start falling off. Let's say if it is the 5th round or 7th or 8th, who would you like kind of like hone in on? Like if you can, let's say if there's someone out there.
Well, I mean, from what I'm seeing, Aaron Rodgers is ranked 7th. And now that we know that he's going to be playing, if there's 6 quarterbacks taken ahead of him, you should be able to get him, around the 8th round or something like that.
See, I always like the strategy of if you pick your receiver, pick your quarterback. So last year when I picked, who did I pick that receiver? How come I'm drawing a blank right now?
Probably someone from Detroit, knowing you.
No. It wasn't from Detroit. It should have been, though.
So not Diggs, not Allen, Keenan Allen?
No, the receiver for Green Bay that caught all his football passes. Not Adams. Yeah, Adams. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, yeah.
I picked him like in round 1 because I'm in PBR league. So I picked up Aaron Rodgers, I think, in the 5th round.
Okay.
But depending on where he goes this year, I think like really like a sleeper out there is maybe Ryan Tannehill with his threats. So I might be looking at like trying to get Tannehill at like a later round 9 or something like that, just to have him on my bench to see how well he performs this year.
Yeah, I think I don't like him as a number 1. No. But I think he'd be good to have as a number 2 as a backup plan. The only thing that makes me question him is he lost his head coach, who was really good at scheming, especially down inside the red zone. And he lost, his tight end. I know that they've picked up Julio, but that offense sort of was really tight end friendly. And they've already got Brown there. Sucking up targets. So, I mean.
But Henry catches the ball. And same with White, or not White, their other running back, their third guy. So
Yeah, no, I don't think Henry catches the ball.
yeah, he does. I was watching highlights this week about him just catching just like dump passes, right? Just
Hmm,
and then he's running. So they
okay.
do have those. I'm just liking Tannehill as
Yeah.
possibly a late round kind of guy because
Yeah.
when it's going to go with average draft order or like
Okay.
procedures, right? People are going to be knocking off all the top guys as they go down the round. You might get some benefit out of someone like Tannehill that might be sitting at, a ranking of 10 or 15 or something like that.
Yeah, I think, from what I've seen, he's ranked around 11. And the thing is that there's 12 teams in most leagues. So, I mean, they're thinking that he's a number one from what I'm seeing in a lot of rankings.
Yep.
And I agree with you that I think he'd be a good steal later on, but I wouldn't want him as a starter. But according to the rankings, he's a top 12 guy. So I'd question that. But I mean, we don't know. When a team has a new coach with a new offense and some new pieces, I feel like it takes them a little bit of time sometimes to get into a groove. And with my fantasy league, if you lose like the first 3 games, which are all divisional games, it's a hard hole to climb out of. You're so far behind. I want to know right out of the gate with those picks what I'm getting. But I mean,
when you're saying divisional games, you're talking about the divisions of your fantasy league, like you're in a division inside your fantasy league, not divisional. Gotcha.
Yeah. Do you guys have it set up so that you play divisional opponents?
No, we do like we do like a ladder. So
Mhm.
it's just like, I think we have eight or 10 guys, people. Sorry, because we have 8 or 10 people inside the league,
Yeah.
and then after it gets to week 11, it goes, whoever you played won. So, and I think over a pattern that I've seen, I think I always will play, the same people, but there's like 3 people in the league that I only will play once. So maybe I'll look at structuring that different this year since I am I don't know, commissioner, I guess you call
You're
it.
the commish. Nice.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, that's a tip for people out there. Know the rules of your league because they're all different. And, some advice that you get from one fantasy person might not actually help you if you guys are doing a different thing. I know also for us, we don't do PPR and we don't do half point PPR. We're standard scoring. And I think your league is a PPR league.
Yeah, it's like way up there. Like guys were scoring at 200. I think this year I had a 185 day game, and I've seen your scoreboard at 67. I'm going,
Yeah.
wow, I'm crazy killing it. So that's why you get the running backs that can catch the football, right? Or the quarterbacks that like to throw more often than give it to the backfield. Like you're not taking Baker Mayfield, and you know that they're running the ball 30 plus times a game.
Right.
So that guy doesn't get picked up, but he could be a great quarterback in your other, like in another league, but whatever.
Yeah, he doesn't run much either, and we know that for QBs, those running points matter a lot. If you can get a QB that runs around, I think I'm seeing Jalen Hurts' stock go way up, even ranked ahead of Joe Burrow and Stafford and some really good QBs, Trevor Lawrence, because I think Jalen Hurts is going to run around quite a bit and get a lot of points with his legs. And I mean, I guess Devonta Smith is someone he's going to throw to because last year there wasn't anyone to throw to on that whole team.
Yeah, but is Ertz even coming back?
Yeah, Ertz is there. He's got some incredibly bleached blonde hair.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
He's very unhappy.
Yeah, I just read that he wants out, and I think he's a steal. I think no matter what team he's going to, he's going to get his mitts on that football. So pick him up. I would pick him up in he's playing football this year regardless. And if he can get transferred, no matter team he's getting to, it's going to be probably a contender that needs to go like deep into the playoffs because expectations are high.
Yeah. Yeah. Keep your eye on him because he's a good player. I mean, he wanted out of Philly last year and they didn't let him out. They kept him on the roster and they just gave the ball to Goddard. And they don't like Philadelphia. They don't like Ertz and they're not trading him. I wish they would, as you said. I think he's a good player and he would be great, on another team. But I mean, when you're the worst team in the NFC least, did you get him? Did you get him that time?
I don't know.
Okay.
I was just laughing at NFL least, and then
Yeah.
I was like clapping. I think I wasn't going after mosquito. I think it was like a one clap.
Okay. And you got a guy like Ertz on your team, and you won't give him the ball. I mean, that's time for everyone to go, right? Fire the coach, get a new coach in, just start drafting some new players because the wheels have come off. They threw their last game last year. They lost on purpose to, who did they lose to? Washington. They lost to Washington on purpose so that the Giants wouldn't get into the playoffs, and there's some bad blood there because of that. That's the way it goes. Sorry, boys. We needed to get Nate Sudfeld into the game. That was part of the game plan. That was what the coach said. That was the last thing he said before they fired him. Sorry, coach.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Kirk Cousins got COVID. He's ranked at number 20. So his ranking will probably go down now. Mayfield, 21. Tua, you like any Tua stock this year?
Of course not. He doesn't have anyone to get him out of. I can't deal with the NFL pressure. Like Fitzpatrick was there last year throwing footballs like into Greasy's hands.
Yeah.
Greasy's a great tight end. This should be a tight end show. I'm talking about so much.
You're talking about Gesicki?
Gesicki, that's the guy. Greasy.
Yeah.
Fitzpatrick gets his face raped off.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know if I like Gesicki this year with Tua as his QB.
No, that's right. I think he's good to have if you get him late, but yeah, I don't have a Tua stock. He's like you're saying, like a little speedy little guy and whatever. But last year they didn't really instill any trust in him.
Do you want to move on to running backs, or is there anything in particular about QBs we need to discuss?
No, let's go into running backs.
Okay. Sure. Are you in agreement? Everybody's saying that Christian McCaffrey is the top running back this year, even though last year he barely played.
Of course he is. He's the best thing since sliced bread.
Based on last year's performance, or?
No. It's just they do like to give him the ball. That's great. Like that I do think he is going to go in my draft either 1 or 2. I do not see him going off the board any farther than that. So just because of how many times they do count on him, but they do got a lot of other weapons this year too. So,
so you'd agree with McCaffrey and then Cook.
Well, I don't know. I kind of like Cook is amazing.
Yeah.
But and maybe they have to lie heavily on their run game due to the fact of, like you said, that their quarterbacks are all not getting their shot. Then Minnesota needs to run the ball because no one's going to be throwing them the ball.
Yeah.
So maybe as a strategic method, like you say, I'm going to go for Cook over number 1 because McCaffrey, even though he's a workhorse, if you not, they do have a quarterback. Isn't Bridgewater the quarterback this year? Who's their quarterback this year for Carolina Panthers?
Sam Darnold.
Darnold, that's right. Darnold, not Bridgewater. Yeah, so they have a guy that can throw. So I would definitely go Cook number 1 now, like with that information that you said about not having a shot.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
But he
hopefully,
is a workhorse. He's a stud. But I think he like blew out his femur last year, which is a pretty serious injury.
McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a couple of injuries. He came back and then he hurt his shoulder and then he was done for the year. So people that were waiting for him to come and save their fantasy teams were really disappointed. I'm looking down the line here. Kamara's moved up quite a bit in the rankings. The one I'm looking at,
they don't have a quarterback either, so Kamara's carrying the team. Right? Dump pass to Kamara, let him run 15 yards, first down.
Yeah.
Dump pass, like Winston will do all right, I guess, but they haven't really done any investment in quarterback.
No, they've got two guys. I think they're going to do that weird thing again where Winston's the starter and then they're going to bring in Taysom Hill to do that weird jet offense thing or whatever it is that they call it, where the quarterback runs all the time. I guess Kamara benefits with a pure passer like Winston. And I think his production goes down a little bit when they've got Taysom Hill in there running around, scoring all the touchdowns from inside the 10.
Well, wasn't last year like every time they were in the red zone, they would put Hill in for like
Breeze
the first
watching,
for like at least like the first down, and then they would go, okay, Breeze go in for the third, or like second and third and fourth, and then they usually get into the end zone. So it's definitely interesting that what's going to go on. But Kamara is a high pick. I've always thought of that guy as being high pick. Like, 6 touchdowns at Christmas? Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Sorry we didn't give you the ball in the red zone all year, but we'll give it to you a whole bunch of times today. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
So Derrick Henry, you've talked about him a little bit. You like him a lot?
Yeah, I do. I think, big, strong guy. Runs downhill. Can't go wrong.
So Saquon Barkley's not practicing. And he got injured a long time ago. In this ranking I'm looking at, he's number 5. If I was doing snake and ladder and it came to me, I wouldn't feel good selecting Saquon Barkley that early if I haven't seen him play any football. Because it's been a long time since I've seen him do anything. Yeah.
2 years. I would definitely take Jonathan Taylor before Saquon Barkley. I don't even know who that guy is. It's just that he has he's just a name that has been
a long while
putting it out there. But running backs are hard to get, and sometimes you do go through small slumps in your career that then you turn around and then you become like amazing later in your 20s. And who knows what's going to happen. It's a gamble, I think, with him. I think definitely if you're going to draft him up in a higher, or you're going to spend money, getting him at a lower dollar, or drafting Saquon, if he's on the board reasonably, on a 4th or 5th, if you don't need another key position, then good guy to have in your team. But I wouldn't stretch with him in the first 2 rounds in my snake and ladder.
No, there's too many guys. We haven't talked about Elliott yet. Nick Chubb just signed a big deal. They're committed to him. Aaron Jones has got the boys back. So, they should be a good offense this year. And then Eckler was hurt a lot of last year, but I really like Eckler. I mean, I would take Eckler ahead of a lot of those other guys that I just listed. Because he's really the only back in town, and he does what you said. He catches the ball as well as runs it.
Yeah.
So I got him at 10 here on the rankings that I'm looking at, but I'd have him higher. I'd have him. I'd rather take Austin Eckler at 10 than Saquon Barkley at 5. I mean, I would take Eckler at 5.
Yeah, or Clyde Edward Hilaire,
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Like, it depends. That guy, he's having competition too. He could be on a committee because they just picked up that rookie. So,
Bell. We know Bell's gone. He said he played his last game for Andy Reid, and I guess Andy Reid agreed with him.
Yeah.
So we'll probably never hear from that guy again. But he sure was a wingnut.
But it is interesting to see such. And this just shows you NFL, like, someone who dominates for years, and then all of a sudden can't even see the field.
Yeah, well, he held out in his prime, and he missed a whole season, and then he went to a crap team, and he got beat up, and then he went to a good team, but he was too beat up to do anything, and then he's also an attitude case, right? Like you've seen, it was him, it was Antonio Brown, and there was Bell in Pittsburgh, and they were both head cases. And
yeah, but the funny thing is that Antonio Brown kept his head case in his helmet for years before he broke out.
Well, he was always a diva.
He was always a diva, but he never was really. He never had the soapbox, right? And then he got into a soapbox when they started doing like the L.A. Raiders or whatever they are now, Oakland Raiders. Remember, like they did, like, oh, Antonio Brown comes in a helicopter kind of stuff. And
Las Vegas Raiders, yeah. Well, I think he was believing his own press clippings.
He was playing in Oakland. He wasn't playing in Vegas.
Well, the truth is, he never played at all for that team.
He didn't, but he didn't. Actually was. He was actually an Oakland Raider, I believe. Okay. And not a Vegas Raider. That's why I was saying LA and Oakland.
Okay. He got paid, I guess, by the Oakland Raiders for a couple of days of practice, is what you're saying.
Yeah. And then he had like turf toe or something, and he was like sitting on his helmet. And that was the only thing I actually saw of him doing.
Yeah. Well, he's had a bit of an attitude change, and good things have happened for him, but I don't think Bell hasn't changed his attitude, and I don't think Bell's going to be even in the league anymore.
Didn't you mention that, like, he was living in Tom Brady's
like he was
garage?
Living in Tom Brady's beach house. Yeah.
Parked beside the Sea-Doo.
Yeah. Hey, it could be worse. I would take that gig.
Oh yeah, it's probably a sweet garage. Like I love it.
Yeah, it's probably a really great garage. The only problem is you gotta order from DoorDash because you only can eat vegetables at their house.
Right. I'm sure being in the side house, you have your benefits of being able to get out of like what's inside the house fridge.
Yeah.
Guy makes millions. Guy makes millions.
Makes millions, but he lives in the garage of someone else's house.
Millions is a little bit different these times because like like houses are worth millions. Just can't, like it's just like millions is like $10.
Yep.
Whatever. Yeah. Go to Vegas, there goes $500,000 with your entourage.
Yeah.
There you go.
The crappiest house in Vancouver is at least $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, it's true. So some other guys I like Mixon, Joe Mixon from Cincinnati, because he catches the ball. You made your point about catching the ball. I like Antonio Gibson. Same thing. Everybody's talking about Najee Harris being the guy in Pittsburgh, but I don't think they can block anybody.
I was telling you this when we did like the last episode 7 weeks ago, whenever that was.
Yeah.
Like I think this guy's going to carry the ball because no one else is carrying the ball. But like you said, no one could protect the passer. No one's going to run block for you. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
But I do think he will get a substantial amount of carries. He probably will break some. And maybe somebody will pick up a different color helmet and help him out.
I can't wait to watch that division this year because I think it's been flipped on its head. Pittsburgh was dominant for so long, and I think they might be the worst team in that division now. Well, I guess Cincinnati has got something to prove in that department, but I think the Browns went into the playoffs. They beat Pittsburgh in the playoffs. They went kind of deep into the playoffs last year. And if they're looking at improving, that means, quarterfinals, semifinals, championship game. Like the Browns are going to be good. They don't have any weaknesses that I see. I'm not sure about Baltimore. They might get a lot of COVID. Maybe Pittsburgh can climb past them, but
so you don't think Pittsburgh's going on the 11-0 winning streak and whispers that the perfect season is going to be in their coattail? Is all in their coattails now, and it's not happening anymore. this year. Like it's just going to go. Oh, you can't even throw the ball, the old man.
Well, they have a whole new offensive line. I mean, all those guys are gone. Pouncey retired. Villanueva's on Baltimore. They had another guy. I can't remember where he went, but he went to another rival team. It's a whole new offensive line. So, and I don't even know what system they're running this year because they can't run what they ran last year because they can't win that way, and they know that.
Yeah, because teams just play the package, and then you just can't win.
So it's a lot of pressure on Najee Harris to be great, but I think he needs some help.
He's a running back. He's fine.
Needs some help, I think. Sanders in Philly. They got him at 14 here. I think it's a little high.
I stay away from Sanders. He was high last year too. He was probably 6. But it's Philly.
Mm-hmm.
They can't figure things out over there. And
No.
Hurts is just going to be nope, option. No, I got it.
Nope. I'm keeping it.
I'm keeping it. Oh, by the way, I got it. It's like me playing with my child. I got it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So why would I pick a guy whose quarterback is just going to take the ball?
Yeah.
Not for you. It's for me.
There's talk that KC's O-line has been revamped and they're going to focus on running the ball a little bit this year. So Clyde Edwards-Hilaire is a little tiny person. And I watched him struggle to bang the ball inside the 5 last year. Do you think, since Bell is gone, do you think all those other things, all those other factors are included, that he'll be better than he was last year? Because he was kind of disappointing last year, I thought.
Well, he came out as a kind of like a breakthrough player. He did get a lot of points fantasy-wise because teams were covering defenses schemes were just totally on their heads trying to watch for something else. So if they play him right, he'll get you points. So, but is he a top 10 or is he a top 20? I think he's in the 20 league, right? Where you're talking right now. He's not, someone that you stretch for. You're not, I don't know. Chris Carson, maybe better. I don't know. I'm just
they're
throwing
pretty
out
close. They're pretty close with in the rankings.
I'm just saying, who would you go with? Someone that can pound the ball in, compared to someone who is, like you say, but he's optimistic. It's just with Kansas City, it's just so almost like a show. You just don't know what's going to go happen. You don't know if Patrick Mahomes is going to throw a 50-yard bomb 3 times in the first quarter, or they're going to you know what I mean? So it's just one of those. It's just amazing to see that team in action, and however Clyde works, he's gonna work. It's not, maybe he can't get you in the end zone, in the red zone, but he's sure got wide receivers that can.
Yeah, I think he's sort of a hit and miss guy. If they scheme for him one week, he probably could score 3 touchdowns. But most of the time, they want to give the ball to Kelsey and Hill.
I think one of the guys that is probably being talked about but not really talked about is Detroit Lions Swift. I think him sitting up, I think he should be kind of up there. I think there's going to be a lot of run in Detroit this year. There may be a committee back there, but I think Swift is probably higher than Clyde Edwards-Hilaire. I think he's in a higher 10, 11, 12 area compared to maybe where they have him. Just because of their offensive line has got stronger this year, and they got golf and no really marquee wide receivers. I think they're gonna just be surprising everybody with dump passes to him. So in a PPR league, you kind of want that guy to get those catches and runs.
I gotta say I have no faith in Detroit this year. Maybe I'll be proven wrong, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a bit of regression there, and that would be hard to do. I mean, because are you really going to surprise anybody by dumping the ball to your back when everybody, including us, knows that they don't have any wideouts? I I have to see it. I have to see what Detroit's going to be this year. They could prove me wrong. That's why we play the games. I'm curious. I don't mind saying that. Like, I just don't. I just so curious to see what they do. It's going to be a revelation to me if they do anything other than just run the ball 2 out of 3
That's what I mean.
times.
And that's
Yeah.
what we're talking about. We're talking about running backs, and they can run the ball. So
Okay.
they're not going to get 0 points. They're not going to get, you know what I mean? They're not going to get 0 offensive line. Like, I'm just saying, that's why if you want somebody
Okay.
that will be a workhorse,
Yeah.
this guy sitting lower in the rankings, not stretching to be your one, but if you got in my league, if you got a bad situation where you're now at number 4 and he's on the board,
Yeah.
and your ladder and you're picking, like kind of like in the middle, like in a 6th position or something like that, of a 10-man league, you're just kind of like sitting there just trying to get best man up, or like,
Mm-hmm.
who is that sleeper that I'm trying to maybe win the year with? And that's always what you're going for.
A candidate along those lines, I think, is Chase Edmonds in Arizona, because they got rid of Drake. He went to the Raiders, and he's the only guy there that it's a household name running the ball. So Cardinals Chase Edmonds is a guy, and then another. Since we spoke last, really sad development where Cam Akers blows his Achilles. He was a high draft pick when we did our mock draft, which I was editing last night, and I was scratching my head thinking, what do I do with this? Because we had our mock draft back when he was healthy, and he's gone, and they traded the other back, Brown. They traded him away. I think he went to Miami. So now last year they had 3 backs. This year they have 1. His name's Darrell Henderson Jr., and he's 22 in the rankings. Everybody's excited about that offense. But, keep your eye on that team, because, Darrell Henderson had some opportunities last year. He didn't do that much with them. And somebody else may emerge out of that backfield, which will be a great, pickup part of the way through the year. Or maybe Henderson will have a good year. I don't know. But those are a couple guys to watch. Also, Davis in Atlanta, we talked a bit about him before. Somebody could emerge as some competition for him and steal his carries. And he's the starter. He's ranked 24 in most of the rankings. But, somebody could sneak up from behind Mike Davis and steal all his carries. So keep your eyes peeled on Atlanta. Maybe if you draft Davis, maybe draft his backup. Same with Henderson. Try to get the number 2 back, because the other guy could emerge very easily.
Yeah, and then the better be on your team than on someone else's roster. Even sitting on the bench is better than being on someone else's team scoring points against you. Or like in my league too, like every point against that 4th actually goes to your total ranking. We don't do deductions on points against. Mm-hmm. So, the more that you succeed every week with higher and higher points, the tally just keeps on going. So when it comes down to a tiebreaker, mm-hmm. And you're sitting in between a fight of, 2nd or 3rd place, you kind of want to, hopefully you get 2nd place, because then you're playing the 7th team instead of, 3rd place where you're playing like the 6th team, whatever that math goes. So yeah, it's good strategy. Really like that. And the same thing too with the Denver guys.
Yeah. Why is Javonta Williams ranked so low? He's going to be an amazing player.
I don't know.
I can't figure that one out. I think he'll have the starting job, if not right away, then very soon. And by the time fantasy playoffs are rolling around, he's going to be a top 20 guy. Well, that's just my opinion, but I think he's a steal if you can get him in the late rounds, or if you can get him for cheap.
Yeah,
he's a guy for sure. And
just stay away from the Jets, right, Sean? Just
stay away from. Well, the Jets. I mean, it wouldn't be hard. It wouldn't be hard for the Jets to be better. But we've already talked about Detroit. But a team that I would say stay away from is the Houston Texans. Like just just please don't have any Houston Texans. No Deshaun Watson. David Johnson, I guess, is their running back. I mean, the receivers, I don't know. Cobb just got traded to Green Bay.
It's amazing. That's good. I should be a hater more on Green Bay, but I had Cobb 5 years ago when he was playing with Rodgers and he was a moneymaker.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just good to see, people back in the colors that they probably should have always been in. And it's going to be exciting. But yeah, I agree too. Just stay away from Houston.
Houston, man. Houston, you have a problem.
Exactly.
No doubt. No doubt. Yeah. Okay. Well,
Lindsay is there, so maybe pick him because they'll be like, just giving you some hope.
Yeah, good player on a bad team. Ingram's there too, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know if he can run anymore. He's kind of old now. But a lot will remain to be seen. But I kind of feel sorry. I was watching the NFL training camp thing this weekend because all the teams are in camp, so they were doing a little celebration saying, "Oh, we're back together again." And I just felt sorry for all the Houston guys that were getting interviewed because they were all trying to act like, "Oh yeah, it's a good group of guys," and none of them believed what they were saying. It was just like no one else would take me. Guys are still disappearing. Cobb left yesterday. I'm here because no one else wanted me. And, we're going to go 0-17 and we're going to try to get a good draft pick.
Every time I try and watch the NFL Network over the last, I guess, week now, since it started really Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I don't know. I guess it's flexible when people could start. It just always was the Dallas Cowboys. Oh gosh.
Well, they're doing Hard Knocks this year. Every year a team gets to be on Hard Knocks. So Jerry Jones wants to be on TV as much as possible. So it's Dallas Cowboys Hard Knocks this year.
Oh man, it's
that's why.
What's going on? They got a better defense. No, they don't. They got a better defense, sure. Still 20th in the league, gosh.
Yeah, we'll see what happens this year. But I mean, it would be hard for them not to be better on defense. Put it that way. It'd be very hard for them not to be better on defense. Thanks for listening to the Fantasy Football Game Plan.